Здравствуйте, comrades. Today we discuss socialism and how it will crush capitalist pig dog ideology like bear crushed tiny child. Fuck. Goddamn cigarettes. Fuck it. I'm not gonna edit that. Big news in the news, friendos. A self-described democratic socialist named Alexandria OcasioCortez just snatched victory in the congressional primaries from what I understand is something like a 19-year incumbent House Democrat in New York's 14th congressional district. Cortez is 28 years old and has somehow shown us that the political machine might actually not be rigged all to shit. So, that's good news. Pretty big deal for me. It's kind of cool to know that some random-ass person can roll in like a motherfucking stealth infiltrator under the radar and dethrone the fat rat at the top of the big old pile of stinky cheese. But, and this is a big, bouncy, Kardashian-style butt. Like a broke-the-internet kind of butt. She's a goddamn socialist. Every time I see a fucking candidate where I'm all like, hells yeah, a politician I might be able to actually support. I can dig this, stand the torpedoes, full speed ahead. I get downright disappointed in a maximally possible way to discover that there's some kind of extremist leftist commie that wants me to pay for shit for people that didn't do shit to earn it. Goddamn social fucking commie motherfucking bullshit. Goddamn fuck. Whew. Okay. Calm your tits, Spiff. You can dig this Cortez lady. Why'd she draw you in? Well, we're gonna look at her campaign. Here's a fucking video that'll probably get me DMCA'd.
Women like me aren't supposed to run for office. I wasn't born to a wealthy or powerful family. Mother from Puerto Rico, dad from the South Bronx. I was born in a place where your zip code determines your destiny. My name is Alexandria OcasioCortez. I'm an educator, an organizer, a working-class New Yorker. I've worked with expectant mothers, I've waited tables, and led classrooms. And going into politics wasn't in the plan. But after 20 years of the same representation, we have to ask, who has New York been changing for? Every day gets harder for working families like mine to get by. The rent gets higher, healthcare covers less, and our income stays the same. It's clear that these changes haven't been for us, and we deserve a champion. It's time to fight for a New York that working families can afford. That's why I'm running for Congress. This race is about people versus money. We've got people, they've got money. It's time we acknowledge that not all Democrats are the same. That a Democrat who takes corporate money, profits off foreclosure, doesn't live here, doesn't send his kids to our schools, doesn't drink our water or breathe our air, cannot possibly represent us. What the Bronx and Queens needs is Medicare for all, tuition-free public college, a federal jobs guarantee, and criminal justice reform. We can do it now. It doesn't take 100 years to do this. It takes political courage. A New York for the many is possible. It's time for one of us. Vote for Alexandria OcasioCortez on June 26th.
Damn, that's some pretty powerful stuff. Now, before we get into my assessment of Miss Ocasio-Cortez, let me break some of my politics down for you. Economically, I'm a staunch capitalist, and even further, vehemently anti-socialist. I very much believe that you should earn what you get. Teach a man to fish and that kind of bullshit. Politically, I've been called a social liberal, whatever the hell that means. Maybe I'll do one of those political compass thingies for kicks in a video at some point. I don't know. Finally, I think politicians are some of the absolute weakest assholes in our society and are continuously bought and sold between the highest bidders. I don't appreciate that shit. I tend towards populism. I stick up for the little guy, the average working jackass who's just trying to pay a mortgage and get laid every now and then. Now, onto the ad. The biggest draw for me was the framing of people versus money. The idea of getting big money out of politics, no PAC funding, stagnating wages, shit like that. She seems to be claiming to stick up for the little guy, know what I mean? Like my boy Bernie was kind of doing the same thing during his run in 2016 before he was absolutely horse-fucked by the DNC, who then lost to a populist platform. Go figure that, right? Deplorables? Fuck off. How about a now alienated majority of your voter base, you dumbass, pandering, dishonest chart humpers, eh? But I digress. Let's now take a look at Ocasio's platform and see why I'm experiencing cognitive dissonance with a gap that's huge enough to store Donald Trump's fucking ego. I'm going to try not to get super in-depth with this stuff because there's a lot of points, and this video is already going to be TLDR as hell, but here we go. Alright, so here we have Alexandria OcasioCortez's platform. First point, Medicare for all. Overall, I support single-payer health care, particularly when it comes to routine shit like vaccines, checkups, break a testicle, whatever. I especially support the notion of removing the element of greed from prescription medications. A life-saving medication should not be so expensive that no average human person can afford it. See the EpiPen fiasco. I got a personal stake in that. However, I also realize the drawbacks of the single-payer system. As anyone who's ever dealt with military medical departments or VA hospitals will tell you. Seems like most of the people who work in these places would rather be, rubbing their genitals on liquid hot magma than helping you at any given moment. I might do a standalone video on healthcare in the future. Moving on. Housing as a human right. No. Fucking commie bullshit. No. Things. The possession of things, the acquisition of material commodities is not and cannot ever be a human right. God damn it. Let's take a look at the justification for this bullshit. Housing in the United States, playground for wealthy developers. Oh, evil developers. Money from luxury real estate developers taking over a political establishment, luxury rezonings. Oh, gentrification. Leave a wake of empty units in their place. Empty houses. What we got? Okay, so people are homeless while houses are empty. All right, love. Let's get to the part where you start appropriating property like a good commie. Oh, where is it? Oh, well, it doesn't seem like we've started seizing the means of production here just yet, so that's good. But when's the revolution? Kind of seems to me like you just want to increase the sheer volume of Section 8 houses. You literally want to expand the New York projects. I'm sure that won't possibly backfire in spectacular fashion. The one thing that I can get behind in this is not taking cash from the real estate developers. I'll always support getting big money out of Congress. What's next? A peace economy, eh? This is basically the argument for bring home the troops and reduce defense spending. I support bring home the troops from a pointless war, but I really like that my country is the hegemonic military superpower. In my opinion, the way I see things, there's a reason that the last real land war fought on American soil was between Americans. And I'll just leave that there. What do we got next? Federal jobs guarantee. Yeah, I've heard this phrasing before, and it basically amounts to, we'll create bullshit jobs for people, employ anyone who applies, give them badass benefits, and so on. And here I see a lot of people are starting to throw this $15 minimum wage thing in here with all kinds of subterfuge, like this federal jobs guarantee, quote unquote, is just like a dog whistle for the $15 minimum wage. And I absolutely do not, under any circumstances, support a $15 minimum wage. And a video on that is on my list. What do we got next? Gun control and assault weapons ban. I already did a video on gun control, go watch it. Pump those numbers up. I refuse to support any leftist form of gun reform that involves the words ban or assault weapon. Next. Criminal justice reform, end private prisons. I fully support this just by reading the title. Let's see what we got. Mass incarceration. Legalize it. Yeah, I'm for it. And in the war on drugs. Yeah, I can dig it. I fully support this. No system wherein you deal in the incarceration of humans should ever be privatized, in my opinion. I tend to feel like humans are basically selfish assholes, and eventually greed wins over ethics every time. There should never be any kind of incentive to put people behind bars. And here we also see an effort to end the war on drugs. Good. Drugs won the war on drugs a long time ago. What we got next? Immigration justice and abolish ICE. Yeah, this is a modern thing. This is got to be about family separations and things like that. Now, my question is are you going to replace ICE with something, or are you one of these open borders nut jobs? She mentions the INS. Ripped. Children are being ripped from their parents. I love this word, ripped. It's an interesting psychological linguistics trick. It sounds incredibly violent to say ripped instead of taken or pulled away from, right? And Donald Trump used this same methodology and this type of rhetoric in reference to abortion during his 2016 campaign, and now the left is using it to reference immigration and family separations. In my opinion, overall, more accountability and a more streamlined immigration system would be nice, but you can't just outright open the borders, bottom line. What's next? Solidarity with Puerto Rico. Yeah, they got hit with the hurricane. Cool. I'm down. Don't really care one way or the other, but I'm down. Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah, Puerto Rico. What's next? Mobilizing against climate change. And clean energy, it looks like. Carbon free. Yeah. So, climate change is a way more complex topic than anyone ever gives it credit for. However, overall, I support a transition to clean energy, particularly nuclear energy. What do we got next? Clean campaign finance. And this is her talking about not taking big money, which 100% full support. No entity should ever be able to influence Congress via greed in any conceivable way. And I think the people in the offices should have some serious fucking accountability. I also think lobbyists should be absolutely disallowed. Next. Higher education for all. Yeah, this is your standard Bernie Sanders free college, right? And basically gonna get rid of all existing student loan debt and make colleges free. Now, this is an interesting topic that I was on the fence about for a long while, but I now do not support it. And there's a particular reason for that. There's two reasons, actually. The first one was an interesting idea that somebody presented to me a while back of, if we make college free, what incentive do people have to volunteer for the armed forces? And that's just an interesting question, and I'll leave that there. The other issue that I have is that if you look at the modern state of the workforce and business, you can rarely find a decent entry-level job outside of trade skill apprenticeship programs on a high school diploma anymore. If you're looking to start a career, you have to have a bachelor's degree. And so, since pretty much everyone's got a bachelor's degree, and it has become ridiculously easy to obtain a bachelor's degree, it has become effectively the new high school diploma. And I also believe that in so doing, and making it so easy to pay tuition and to get accepted into a college, that it has diminished the value of the bachelor's degree. And it has also diminished the quality of education that many institutions are granting to people. So, I honestly believe that what you need to do is make colleges more exclusive again. Because then, somebody who's just gotten out of high school can actually find a goddamn job. And that's where I'll leave that there. What do we got next? Women's rights. That's a blanket statement. What do we got here? We got the progressive stack. We got a pro-choice argument. And I imagine Planned Parenthood would be in there as well. Domestic violence. What else? Decriminalization of sex work. That's interesting. You don't see decriminalization of sex work very often. But this section seems to be pandering to your far left ideologues, your regressive leftists and identitarians, particularly the feminists. I can get behind some of it, but not in this type of neo-Marxist type of way. On the flip side, the legalization of sex work thing is very interesting to me. What's next? Support LGBT. This is probably much of the same. Trans rights. More pandering. See, and as I'm reading through this, it's getting kind of interesting because it's starting to nuzzle at the neck of anti-Trump rhetoric without outright saying it. Whoever wrote this writer, this PR person is pretty sharp. Because I think most people are just sick and tired of the anti-Trump rhetoric and want to see people talk about issues. Next, we got support seniors. So this is probably, Social Security and probably Medicaid is in here somewhere. Universal health care to Medicaid expansion. Yep, so it doesn't really matter to me. Shit'll be gone by the time I get there because it seems to me like I have to be 150 by the time I'm allowed to retire. Given the lifestyle I've led, I give myself another 30 years. Tops. Absolute tops. What's next? Curb Wall Street gambling and restore Glass-Steagall. I support it. I support this idea. I don't really care for how banks get to just fuck around with people's hard-earned money and then just shrug and say sorry when everything goes tits up. Then these cocksuckers have the absolute fucking audacity to be like, hey man, how we just bankrupted everyone? Let me hold $1 and give us some money, bail us out. Yeah, fuck you. You're like that guy who's always asking for rides but never has gas money. You know what I'm saying? Like you turn around and then you turn around and talk shit about how the car's not nice enough. Eat my balls. Alright, so that's the platform. Some stuff I can agree with in there, right? Cool, awesome, let's make it happen. Oh wait, that's right, gotta remember, you're a goddamn socialist. So why do I hate socialism so much? Well, I'll tell you. I hate the idea of paying for shit for somebody else who didn't earn it. Medical shit, a little bit different. There's a different moral argument there. Everything else, why the fuck should I have to work and be forced to give money to people who might not have worked as hard? That's really my biggest problem. The modern socialist looks at a rich person and says, they stole that from someone, so we need to take all their shit and equally distribute it. But really, who did they steal it from? Fucking nobody. I get paid for work that I do based on a negotiated rate. Don't like your pay? Work harder. Get skills and negotiate harder. Still don't like your pay? Get more skills and repeat. Who are these commie assholes really trying to pander to? Certainly not me. I make too much money to get the sweet, sweet handouts from the government dole. But on the flip side, I make too little money to make money off of my money the way the rich fuckheads do. So who's looking out for me? Well, it's certainly not the modern left. It's certainly not these goddamn commies. I'm a white, cisgendered, heterosexual male. I am the paragon of privilege, right? Nah. It's more likely that under these types of authoritarian leftist utopias, my shit gets stolen from me and given to a, quote, marginalized person. I'm the white devil, and so I should just be able to keep starting over and over and succeed every time, right? Eat my fucking balls. I just want to have this shit I earn without someone telling me I'm a fucking monster for it. And that's what I see from the far leftists right now. That's what I see from people like Maxine Waters, right? And it scares me. It is frightening to know that there are groups of people out there who hate me just because of the color of my skin. It scares me to know that there are people out there who hate me because I'm working class and not destitute. And so I find it very difficult to support these candidates. I find it very difficult to support the Democratic candidates anymore. I think some of these things that these kind of socialist people are talking about are good things, but I think everything has been taken to such an extreme, it's ridiculous. And so when you look at someone like Ocasio-Cortez beating out a 19-year incumbent, it is very important to take note of how she did it. She ran on a populist platform. How did Donald Trump win? He pandered on a populist platform. And we have to understand this. The Democrats need to return to their base of the working class American. The Republicans have really never been for the working class. They've been for the rich. And that's fine. Everybody's got to have their base to pander to. But the bottom line is that the Democrats no longer support your average working class American. The Democrats no longer appear to support the white coal miner in West Virginia. They no longer appear to support the carpenter in South Carolina, you know. So the Democrats need to take serious note of what's going on with these quote-unquote socialist candidates. And I'm done. Like the video, comment, and for the love of capitalism, share it. I'm trying to generate some passive income from this bullshit. Love you guys. Catch you next time.